Now Joseph and all his brothers and all that generation died, but the Israelites were exceedingly fruitful. They multiplied greatly and increased in number, and became so numerous the land was filled with them. And then a new king said, look, the Israelites have become far too numerous for us. So they put slave masters over them to oppress them with forced labor. They made their lives bitter with harsh labor in brick and mortar, with all kinds of work in the fields. And in all their harsh labor, the Egyptians worked them ruthlessly. Gives a whole new meaning to brick and mortar, doesn't it? The sign of slavery. And time goes on, and the will of God moves with the people of God, and they become numerous, fulfilling the promise God made to Abraham and Sarah. Joseph and his brothers have now created a nation within a nation, slaves. And out of those people, God will raise up miraculously Moses. Many of us know the story of Moses, raised by Pharaoh's daughter. Eventually, he will become enraged at the harsh treatment of his own people and murder a slave master, fleeing to the desert where God will call him to deliver God's people. But have you noticed how people in power don't relinquish it easily? And Pharaoh loved the bricks and mortar built by the hands and the sweat and the blood of slaves and would not let God's people go. You know, when there's a showdown with God, the winning is inevitable. And God will come again and again to Pharaoh with one plague after another, upping the ante in the hope that Pharaoh will repent, until finally the angel of death will pass over the land and the people of God will be turned loose, only to run into a body of water they have no way to cross. And that's when God intervenes miraculously, parts the Red Sea, and the people of God pass through into freedom on the way to the promised land. If you haven't seen the motion picture Lincoln, you need to do that. Because God always strives to bring life in fullness, to restore the purpose and intention of creation, and that means setting people free. Whether in ancient Egypt, in our own nation during the Civil War, or even today. Did you know that we are privileged at St. Mark to host many 12-step groups, that people might know the freedom from addiction that enslaves them? Oh, God's will continues. I hope when you read the story of the deliverance and the parting of the Red Sea, you'll see a bit of God's promise to you and to me and to all people. Happy reading.